Hello, Pastor Doug, back again with another video. Today I want to answer the question, does the Old Testament teach that there is a hell, that there's everlasting torment for the wicked? Now, if you ever talk to any Jewish friends, they'll frequently say Judaism is not a religion that focuses that much on the afterlife. I've had Jewish friends tell me, there might be a heaven, they're not sure. Hell probably doesn't exist. The afterlife is just not a major thing for most modern Jews, unlike Christianity, where the afterlife is a huge thing. Heaven and hell is a major theme in the New Testament. But how about the Old Testament? Now, to be fair, there is more talk about the afterlife in the New Testament than the Old, but the Old Testament does talk about the afterlife. We read that Job, that great promise in Job, that Job states that even though his body will taste death, he shall see God. We read that Ezekiel is caught up into heaven, where God dwells. So there is clearly an afterlife there. Promises of everlasting blessings to the faithful as we read through the Psalms. But how about hell? Is there hell in the Old Testament? I think the best verse to show this is Daniel chapter 12, verse 2, which reads, "Many of those who sleep in the dust of the ground will awake, these to everlasting life, but the others to disgrace and everlasting contempt." Well, this is talking about a resurrection in the future, that those who are dead, dust in the ground, will awake, but some will go to everlasting life, and others to disgrace and everlasting contempt. That's hell. This is, I think, the best verse in the Old Testament to teach not just heaven, but also hell. But let's read it in context. Go back and read verse 1. "Now at that time Michael, the archangel, the great prince who stands guard over the sons of your people, will arise. And there will be a time of distress such as never occurred since there was a nation until that time." I would argue this is the Great Tribulation. That's going to happen sometime in the future where it gets really, really bad. "And at that time your people, everyone who's found written in the book, will be rescued." And of course we read about the book of life in the New Testament also, that all those who have been ordained for salvation, all of the elect, will be saved. But keep on reading. "Many of those who sleep in the dust of the ground will awake, these to everlasting life, but the others to disgrace and everlasting contempt." So there's resurrection, and there's final judgment, and there's heaven and hell. And then finally, verse 3, beautiful verse. "Those who have insight will shine brightly like the brightness of the expanse of heaven, and those who led the many to righteousness like the stars forever and ever." Again, a wonderful promise of heaven and the glories that await the saints. Well, so does the Bible teach the afterlife? Does the Old Testament teach the afterlife? I think Daniel chapter 12, verse 1 through 3 is a great example. It teaches heaven, and it also does teach hell. Well, I hope that helps. As always, Christ's grace and peace to you all. Amen.